Hello and welcome to the Strong Suit Podcast, where we focus on the people part of your business. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I interview a world-class expert on talent and recruiting so that you can build a company filled with rock stars. And it's always fun to welcome a hometown guy here in Chicago. Not only that, but a fellow Kellogg School of Management alum. And that's my guest today. He's the CEO, the co-founder of a super cool fast-growing company called Second Kitchen. Now, Second Kitchen is basically a way for businesses of all sorts to serve food and provide food without the hassles of having their own kitchen. And it was born out of Techstars in Chicago, a very cool incubator. And it's just, I'm so happy to have Nick Anastasiades on the show. Hey, Nick.
Hey, Jeff. How's it going?
It's great to have you on today. Thank you for making the time.
Good to be here, man. Good to be here.
Why don't we start with just 60 seconds on what is Second Kitchen? How does it work? Maybe even give a real life example of how it might work for my business. And then we're going to talk, obviously, most of the part for 20 minutes about the people part of the business.
Yeah. So Second Kitchen is a service that links any business to restaurants in their area so they can use their kitchens and their amenities to serve food. So if you're a brewery or if you're a hotel or if you're a venue, you can link with a really cool pizza shop or a barbecue shop, within walking distance. And through Second Kitchen, you can integrate the menus of that restaurant into your own menu, and food is delivered to customers' tables as if it's the restaurant itself.
So just so I'm very clear, so the listeners are clear.
Yeah.
Is this like Airbnb for the kitchen where I'm using their kitchen, or they're actually catering it and bringing it to me all cooked and everything?
It's the second one, yeah. So it's on demand, and the order goes to the restaurant, and the restaurant is able to send it as if they're expanding their dining room to the neighborhood.
Got it. So it's kind of like when I call Grubhub just for dinner for a couple people. This is if I'm calling for dinner for a couple dozen people.
Correct. That's exactly right. But with more customization, with special meals between both, and with coming directly to the table with table service instead of to your home.
Love it. Second Kitchen with the number 2 at the beginning. How'd you come up with this idea, Nick? Where was this born?
Yeah, so this actually was born in San Francisco in 2015 when it's the same founding team, and we had a company very similar to Grubhub basically, but for pizza. And we would do marketing campaigns to kind of push the product to multiple businesses within San Francisco. And that's when we started talking to a lot of owners of restaurants and of businesses. And we realized that a lot of kitchens are unprofitable because every single business has its own kitchen, its own employees, its own licenses. And we thought, what if we can just pool the demand of the entire neighborhood to one kitchen or multiple kitchens? And that way you have one really good local restaurant providing the food for any business that's nearby. So
it's like a hub and spoke system on a local basis, basically.
Correct.
It's brilliant. Makes a lot of sense. So now let's talk about the people part. So this thing has been up and running based in Chicago for a couple of years now?
No. So the idea was from the previous company, but we kind of resurrected it when I was at Kellogg, and we launched officially last summer. As part of the Techstars class in Chicago.
Got it. So you're about a year old.
About a year old.
And do you share, I don't expect you to share revenue numbers, but can you tell us anything about like how many restaurants or how many kitchens or any kind of metrics?
Yeah, we don't fully share metrics, but I could say that, we're adding locations on a daily basis. We've been doubling the company every 3 months ever since we started. And we're growing, and we're taking the business nationwide from
Great. And is it a market by market rollout, or are you just going to go national, go hog wild all at once?
We started testing the product and working with businesses to kind of refine it in the Midwest. And now we just raised a round last February. And now we're at a point where we're taking the service nationwide.
Got it. How many employees in the business?
We are 10 people.
10 full-time people?
9 people and 1 intern.
Okay, got it. And then are there contractors in addition?
No.
Okay.
No.
So it's like basically 10 people. So let's talk about how'd you learn, this is a question I like to ask my guests. How did you learn how to hire? Did you learn this in the past? I know you worked at Microsoft, you worked at a VC firm, you worked at Deloitte, but where did you learn how to hire?
I would say just, observation, it was the biggest thing. I was in consulting before, and I've actually recruited for consulting multiple times. And that's when I really learned the rigor of consulting and of the hiring process of screening candidates and creating real life situations during the interview so that you can gauge their actions after they get hired. So I was on the receiving end of all these questions, and I've spent months preparing for cases for consulting.
Yep.
Obviously, the startup world is very different, but elements of that are still there. And so I would say, yeah, just observation and being on the other end multiple times. I've recruited, dozens of times for jobs.
Got it.
Yeah.
In this case, you're hiring, I guess, developers. You're probably hiring sales and marketing people,
Right.
people who work in a function that you've never worked in before.
Yeah.
How do you change the process, or how do you incorporate other people into that process so that you kind of know what you're looking for?
Yeah, it definitely, as part of the interview process, you want to meet as many people in the team as possible. But it's always led by the function that that you will be doing at some point. So, for example, if we're hiring engineer, our CTO, Arik, will be the person taking charge and asking, I would say, 80% of these technical questions, and the rest is behavioral. But yeah, we do look at it in function, and whatever function you are recruiting for is most of the questions you're going to get.
They take the lead. And do you have a certain number of interviewers that interview candidates?
We're still small enough. I don't know if it's going to continue, but as of right now, every person we have hired has interviewed with every single person in the company, including the intern.
Yeah. So I suppose at some point that's going to stop.
That's not going to happen. Yeah. So, but for now, I mean, we have the luxury. We are able to have everyone assimilate with everyone. But as I said, the person who is, if it's an engineer, the CTO is making the final, at least technical decision about that candidate.
Got it. Tell the audience, in addition to interviews,
yeah,
what are the other steps in the process? Do you have candidates do anything else, or references? Like walk us through basically how would we get a job working at Second Kitchen?
Yeah, so we're fortunate enough that we have a lot of candidates that apply. I think we got a little bit of press, at least regionally in Chicago in last year, and whether through Built-in or through Chicago Inno, we just have to post a job on our on our website, and we're getting hundreds of applicants. So the screening process is very important for us to choose which candidate we want to hire. So for the screening process, we have. So our COO, CFO, John, does, looks at every single resume and then decides his favorite. And then Chris, our VP of growth, will do the same, and then I will do the same. And then we choose for every job so far, I would say about 10 to 20 candidates.
Yep.
We do a phone screen just to get to know them and make sure that they're initially a good fit. And we bring in about 5 to 10 people to the office for every job. Now, once you get to the office, this is where we do a day of interviews.
A full day.
About that, yeah. So I would actually more than half a day, but we do two a day. So
Yep.
And then you interview with everyone in the office. And what we do is every interview has 2 to 3 real life questions. It's almost always, for example, if it's a customer service, we bring in an actual text from like a customer who has texted us.
Yeah.
We do a text-based customer support.
Yep.
And then we have them reply on the spot. What would you do? If it's a developer, we take a piece of code from the product and say, how would you optimize it, or how would you add a feature?
So you're almost incorporating a real life test drive into the interview process.
Very much so, yeah, and we're very heavy on that. And we even, at some point when we were doing customer service rounds, we had a fourth round of us prepaying 1 week of them doing a real shift after hours, and then we would see their performance, and then we would move them into being part of the team. So that's where we have the luxury of adding one more round to really see the performance.
What's the process that you use to break a tie, if there is a tie?
That's a good. I don't think we've. I don't think we had a full tie previously, but I would say, yeah, it hasn't happened before. But if it does happen, we probably sit together in a room and figure out some criteria that really
Yep.
matter for this job,
Yep.
and then find miniature quotes or stories from each of these interviews that we think is going to be a better fit for us. But it hasn't happened yet, so
Got
we'll
it.
I'll
So
let you know.
what has been the hardest part? You mentioned that sourcing or finding candidates has been pretty easy, right? From the job postings.
Yeah.
What's been the hardest part?
The hardest part is, well, so our team is a little bit weird in the fact that we have three co-founders,
Mhm.
and I bet, and you talk to a lot of teams, and let me know if this happens. We have three co-founders, and three of them are in different cities. So
Oh,
I
all
am,
three are in different cities.
yeah, and all three different time zones too. So we have John is based in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And there's myself in Chicago, and then there's Arik and our entire development team based in New York. So we have two coasts, and then the middle coast.
So when a candidate comes to the office, how are they doing all these interviews?
80% of our, so everyone but the other two co-founders and the developer isn't based in Chicago. So you're interviewing with about 70% of the company, and then the rest are we FaceTime or do a Google Hangouts meeting with the other two.
Got it. So they're video interviews.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, so I would say the hardest part, to answer your question earlier, the
Yep.
hardest part is just coordinating all of these interviews and be able to to have everyone's input between different time zones. That's been the hardest part.
Right. Have you thought about how you will take this unique and, to use your word, weird culture
Yeah, yeah,
and bring it to other cities? You want to go nationally. You're going to have people in different markets.
yeah.
How do you take the germ and seed of the culture and plant it in other markets without screwing it up?
Yeah, that's a great point. And so we have a very very powerful identity as a team. We're scrappy, we're hungry, we're loud, we're boisterous, we're messy. We're like we go out there and execute. And we do that by having Chicago as, 'cause it is the HQ, and we have Chicago as the kind of the culture brain and the culture center of the company. Every month, we fly the entire company. Right now, it's three outside of
Yep.
Chicago.
Yep.
Fly everyone to Chicago, and we have the all hands, and we have socials, and we have the one full week of strategy.
Yep.
And we intend to continue doing that to kind of, to use the same analogy, is to plant the seed, create
Yep.
that sort of what Second Kitchen is, how we go to market, how we are as an identity as a company. And then if we do have other markets and other representatives, they can spread that with them as they go to their
Got it.
cities. So
And you said that you're planning to do that 1 week a year.
1 week a month.
1 week a month. Wow. So again, at some point, that's either going to have to stop or you're going to be spending a good amount of money on it.
Yeah. So maybe for some select folks, like co-founders, we will continue doing it every month, and then the rest we would maybe do every other month or every quarter.
Got it.
Yeah.
So in the year that you've been at this, have you had your first departure from the company?
Yes, we have.
And we don't have to get into details, but how did it go? Like a lot of founders and entrepreneurs say that first departure is really hard, right? Regardless of whether you parted ways with them or they left for a better opportunity.
Yeah.
Everyone looks around and says, "Oh boy, like what's going on here?"
Especially if it's a small team. There's
right.
part of the daily life and everything.
They're like family.
Yeah, and it's in this situation. It was a performance and a culture fit issue. And so we did let them go. And I would say in this situation, it's everyone, maybe the first week was a little bit interesting, but after that, we are who we are as Second Kitchen. I think the culture of the team and the vision kind of superseded that, and we came back even stronger. And now that we have everyone who is all aligned, we're all we fit with each other. We emerge stronger for sure.
How did you find the balance between respecting the privacy, the process, and not sharing, everything with the team. But at the same time, you got to
Yeah.
communicate something, because one day they come in and Bob is gone. I
Yeah.
mean, you got to say something. So how do you find that balance?
That's a good question. We do have one-on-ones. Every person, has a one-on-one with whoever they're reporting to on a weekly basis about that. So we made sure to carve out a portion of time to discuss it. How do they feel? What do they think about it? To kind of do, and it's in a one-on-one discussion, so it feels, it's more private. You're more safe to communicate what you actually feel about this. And of course, on the all hands, we addressed it. But it wasn't a huge.
It doesn't sound like it was a huge speed bump.
It wasn't a huge speed bump. No.
That's great. Awesome. Well, look, I give you so much credit for for starting a company, right? I mean, that alone is a big deal. Raising money, big deal. Building a culture, a team of 10 people. Now you're expanding nationally, Nick. It's a wonderful model. I give you a lot of credit. How can people learn more about Second Kitchen or get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Our website is secondkitchen.com. That's 2ND Kitchen. If you're a business that wants to serve food, this entire service is for free. So you just have to go and tell us your needs, and we'll match you with restaurants in your area so you can serve their food. It's really that simple. Our website is the easiest way to get to know us, and we will probably be in a bar or brewery or hotel next to you very soon. So you'll find our services, and hopefully we can partner together.
I love your optimism. Thanks for making the time, Nick, today.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it.